believe we're live
All right.
on YouTube today.
Had to change platforms.
Yes, we did. We had been having some trouble with Facebook, but we're still broadcasting, and that's the main
thing, right?
Most important thing.
And we've got some talented people behind the scenes, including Hot Mustard, that just know how to figure stuff out and get into all kinds of different platforms. We don't have to rely on one if it's not working for us. So I appreciate you guys.
The brain trust in strategic marketing communications. They're the real geniuses behind all of this. And Dan and
no doubt,
and they're doing a great job.
No doubt.
So this is virtually Speaking of SAC, and we're here every Tuesday. We'll be here every Tuesday, 8:30 to 9, and so the main thing, I wanted to bring this up last week, but we got shut down for some reason. The return to campus plan.
Yes.
For spring 2021.
Yes.
An email was sent out. It was a little bit vague. Let's unpack it. What's going on?
That's a very vague email with a lot of information behind the scenes, as you can imagine. But I am fully aware that faculty, staff, and students are asking, well, what about spring, right? What's going to happen? We're doing well in the city. We're doing well in the county. What are we going to do? And I can tell you the decision that we've all decided at SLT is to still take baby steps. We're not going to open up. I know the governor also has another big announcement, but we are not going to move as aggressively. We are planning a 25% capacity return for the spring. As mentioned several weeks ago, months ago, we are going to take our time. We're going to be very thoughtful, very careful. As you can imagine, going from right now, we're at about 5% on campus to 25%, up to 25%. That's a big jump. I mean, when you talk about, you talk about PPE equipment, you talk about safety protocols, you talk about capacity in the buildings. When you start looking at that, it gets more and more complicated. So how do you increase the bandwidth for more students to be on campus without compromising the safety of our faculty, staff, and students, right? That's the hard part. Simply just saying, well, just let more students in. It's not enough. We're going to have to be very, very careful, just like we've been this fall. But 25% capacity is the goal, up to. I know the vice presidents and deans and chairs and directors have been working very, very diligently in coming up with the right class offerings, with the right student service offices being open, academic support programs. Dr. Lovato, Dr. Solis, Janae Johnson, Gerald Dove have been working. These are all part of the campus logistics, safety officers that are working so hard to ensure that we have a safe return in the spring. We've done a tremendous job in the fall. We don't want to interrupt our track record of excellence when it comes to serving our community. So I am very, very satisfied. I am very, very content with the plan moving forward. I can tell you there is a comprehensive plan. We will be posting that relatively soon for everyone to see. As I mentioned, Hot Mustard, I'm going to be doing a town hall probably in the next week or two for all employees about the onboarding in the spring. We're also going to be very calculated for those students that will return, staff and faculty that will be physically here, to have a more in-depth conversation about their safe return. So yeah, a lot to unpack there.
Oh yes. And there's, you have, I would imagine, a good amount of faculty and staff that they want to return. They want to get back to what they had. And then you have on the other side, people that want to be safe. They want to be cautious. They want to, they just want to be safe, and these are difficult times.
These are difficult times. And that's why I don't take it lightly when I do have people that do return even to work at 5% this fall. because it does take courage, right? It does take a sense of awareness to always know that anytime you're out, there is a threat, but the threat is mitigated, I think, once you step onto campus. And so that takes courage, especially with folks with any underlying conditions that may make them more susceptible to this virus. So we want to be very, very careful. I can tell you we've been very, very thoughtful and very diligent about the PPE equipment. We've ordered more N95 masks for students to be sure that they're going to be okay. Some faculty that may have some compromised immune systems. Also, we've ordered N95s to help them, and some other. I think there's some that are up to 5 layers now, where we can protect them even better. So we've done a lot of great things to prepare. I think as we go from 25 to 50 to probably full percent, 100% back online, but I mean back face to face. But I can tell you, students are a portion of students are really liking this environment, Hot Mustard. So we think we're going to get back to whatever that normal was, but I think students are going to demand that some of this remain for them, because I think for the most part, it's been very, very convenient for them.
Yes. And to those students, though, online courses versus these in-person online courses.
Yes.
Are two different experiences.
Right.
Online, it's like, okay, this is what you got to do it, turn it in on all these times, contact me if you need any help.
Right.
The Zoom aspect, in person, online, it is different. You are actually going to class.
Yeah.
And you are having to see that professor and learn from the professor and everything. So just keep that in mind when registering for classes. Now, I would imagine up to 25%, we are going to have more buildings open. Right now we have, I believe, 3 or 2.
Yes, 3, but a couple, maybe 1 or 2 of them are just for very specific programs. So the building may not be open, but that specific department may be open simply because they have to physically be here. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm thinking we're going to open up, Hot Mustard, another couple of buildings. But I know the academic leadership has been working hard with faculty, because we now have a better understanding of the mix that needs to be offered. Some students, as you mentioned, prefer that Zoom kind of meeting. It's scheduled. It's at that date, that time, but it's via Zoom. They prefer that. We're seeing now more and more students are wanting more online, which is, like you said, it's truly online, where they don't physically, meet or virtually meet. So we think we have a much better blend and mix for the spring, so that students that feel comfortable in either setting will be able to have a better choice. Where when we first did this, we had a lot of sections via Zoom, which means that you physically report virtually at that date and time. Mm-hmm. We found through a lot of surveys that students wanted more online, or they wanted a blend of online and remote learning. So we think we have a much better balance to give our students more options as they begin to work with their advisor to develop their schedules for the spring.
Are any considerations being taken for hybrid courses where the professor will teach on the Zoom, but the student doesn't necessarily have to be there live? They can be, but they can also view it later.
No doubt. The hybrid model is also being used, especially with like Saturday at SAC, or some of our very focused sections on maybe non-traditional students, because as you can imagine, think about maybe I'll use my age, a 49-year-old first time in college, fully online or even remote is so intimidating. So I'm thinking, we're thinking if we blend it where some face-to-face and some online, it would be more appealing, rather than saying, well, I'll wait for the COVID environment to be over and I'll see you guys next semester. We don't want that. We want to accommodate all the different populations and the diversity in our school to ensure that there will be a class for you.
Yes, definitely. So I wanted to talk last week about a study that had just came out last week. Ethica SNR, a nonprofit research organization funded by the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation. So the authors of the study argue that previous research on the value of liberal arts education relied on using attendance at liberal arts colleges or enrollment at liberal arts colleges and science majors as proxies for liberal arts and sciences education. So the findings that they found suggest that so basically all this studying that we have been doing, these 2-year degrees, like, yes, attendance, if it's there, they not necessarily, they're going a little bit against that. Their findings run even counter to it, to the claim that liberal arts and science education does not prepare students for the 21st century job market or for economically viable careers. And they also backed it up with another study from Georgetown that liberal arts colleges students, they get lower returns on their college investments versus graduates in 10 years, but higher returns at the 40-year mark. And I've definitely seen that because, going out into the community and you meet people really good jobs, people you can look up to in the community, and they went to SAC.
Yeah.
It's the long game.
Yeah.
Not the short game. It's
right.
Long term. It's an investment. And, going to SAC and being in that environment, I have a lot of friends that, it took over 2 years, but I think it's that commitment, and when you put that down on a resume, well, it's finishing college. The employer's not going to care if you took 2, 3, 4, 5 years.
Exactly.
Did you finish? That's what matters. And the 4-year universities, I think, see that as well.
That's exactly right, Hot Mustard. And we need to think about, now, there are programs that we have that as soon as you graduate, they're willing to scoop you up and you're making really, really good money. But it's very specialized, right? It's a very specialized field. Take for instance, nursing, right? Where there's such a shortage. You get your 2-year ADN at SAC and you go right into the workforce, making good money. I mean, maybe like an advanced manufacturing or IT jobs. Those are all really hot right now. But for the most part, education, you're absolutely right, is a long game, because it's a journey. And think of The Apprentice. I think of these folks that want to be these master electricians, right? They've got to start somewhere, and you may get the training and the certification that you need to become an apprentice, but what is it going to take for you to become a master electrician with a business mindset to thrive in a business sense in that community, right? You don't come with that skill set. You come through, you get there through education, experience, commitment, hard work ethic, sacrificing for the long game, right? We're not real good at sacrificing now for the future. We don't do well with that. But if you're willing to invest that time, it will pay off at the end, and we've used that example where, I didn't graduate from college thinking, okay, I'm ready to become a college president. It just, it took 19 years of building, of working, of learning, of experiencing, of building your capacity to make good decisions, sound decisions, to get to that level, right? I mean, and it's not over, Hot Mustard. There's still a journey for me. I don't know, we don't know. We're all on a journey, and it's individualized and it's personal. So you're absolutely right. And I think for the most part, liberal arts have come under a lot of scrutiny, but it's for me, they're very, very important, bigger than just education, more quality of life for you as a human being living in a community that needs leadership, right? And what I challenge, my personal opinion is, sometimes the way we deliver a liberal arts education may be a little dated. Let's get relevant with how we deliver a liberal arts education, make it relevant and contextualized to what's happening now and in the future to get students to connect much earlier rather than later, right?
Yes. And what I did like about it in the study, it said, quote, a liberal arts and sciences education is more than a set of academic disciplines, and students receive it across diverse sectors of post-secondary education.
Right.
As such, we contend that past studies fail to completely capture the experience of a liberal education and thus provide an incomplete picture of its value.
Right.
And its value.
Yes. See, though, that when you're, especially young folks, and we mentioned this before, our frontal lobe, which is our analytical decision-making part of a brain, is still forming and developing up to age 24, 25. So sometimes we just physiologically don't even have the capacity to make the connections between a liberal arts education, right, and what we're getting to apply it to the real world. We simply cannot connect it sometimes. Now, there are students that connected really early. I'm going to give them that. But for the most part, that evolution will take time to make that connection. So the quicker you can connect as to why art is important to your profession as an electrician, the more successful you're going to be. Because I have often heard, it can't be just the science of data, right? There's also the art form of applying the data. So you can apply it very rigidly to make good sound decisions, but then why aren't we always making good sound decisions? Because there's an art form. There is a set of these external skills, like you said, commitment, creativity, having an open mind rather than a very, very closed mind about your discipline will allow you to make good sound decisions in when you're in these leadership roles. I really believe that. And that's a higher level of thinking and critical thinking that takes time for a lot of us. It just, if you don't have a mentor or you don't have that person early on giving you that insight, and you're having to figure this out for yourself. You and I've talked about it. You and I have figured it out for ourselves. And it takes a little longer and it takes a little bit more failures as we're getting there to help us get even better in life, right? I truly believe that. It's like you said, and you've said this, I've said this, that it's not really a failure. It's a learning opportunity. It's how you treat that. I didn't make it. And I'm having the same discussion with my daughter. These are setbacks. This is not the end of the world. These are just minor setbacks that you simply need to continue to get over, keep chipping at the stone, keep plowing to your goal, right? And
Yes.
that's life. That's hard work. That's commitment ethic. Don't give up. Regardless of the setback, don't give up.
Definitely. And on that note, Fall Flex 2 registration is open. So if you're a student and think you got what it takes, sign up. One more course, 8-week course. I love Flex 2.
Yeah.
I love Flex courses.
Yes.
I really do.
Yes.
When I was finishing up my bachelor's, I took a lot of Flex courses. It's very helpful. And right now, we're online. This is a perfect time.
I
Cobra
think
Kai is not coming out until January. Cobra Kai season 3.
Right.
You have time. There's no distractions.
It's I love that, and really, what it is, Hot Mustard. The reason why they're so popular, and so I think, and maybe they're kind of a secret until folks that have figured it out really love it, is because it's time on task. You just really need to worry about 2 classes rather than 4 or 5 classes all at once. So it allows you to really focus on that specific class and do really, really well. What we're finding through data analysis is that students are really doing much better at 8-week sessions than they are traditionally the 16-week session. And the reason why is because when do you start really feeling the grind of a 16-week 16-week course?
Say midterms and then finals.
Midterm. When you get to midterm, you are literally questioning whether this is the right class or should I stay in it? Should I exit? Am I doing well? I mean, the grind starts to really set in. Well, guess what? In an 8-week, that's when you're done with that class and now you're starting a fresh new set. So it gives you that sense of motivation for a brand new class, right? So we know that the psychology of what happens is that everyone gets really bogged down around October, right when that mid exam comes in, mid-semester exam.
Oh, yeah.
So why don't we, and we're scaling up more 8-week sessions, to be quite honest with you, in the spring, to give students a sense of, hey, I can take 2 8-week, first week, 2 second 8-week, and I'm still a full-time student. Yes, you are. You're still a full-time student. So we want to encourage that.
And are we still keeping up with the? I remember we started this past spring with the pass or fail, or the traditional GPA point.
Yeah, is that the pass?
Pass fail is
credit
that still
credit
going
option?
on? Yes.
Yeah. That no longer applies to this new semester. So the summer was the last one. I think the balancing act there, Hot Mustard, is that some students that are going into these upper division universities or maybe professional schools, we don't want to keep pushing the envelope where they could potentially say, we're not going to accept any more non-credit classes, because as you know, some of those programs that are very competitive that our students are in, they're going to want to see a letter grade. They're going to want to see that you're ready to go to that next level. So we don't want to, even though our spirit is to help students, unintentionally hurt them in the long run. So we have to find a balance. And right now, the balance has been that universities will accept that spring, summer, because they understand it was a disruption for all institutions. But beyond that, we simply don't want to test it at the risk of our own students succeeding in their programs, in their future programs.
The Student Advocacy Center, they're holding an open house to highlight their counseling staff and programs. Now, keep in mind, open house, it's virtual. It's a virtual open house.
I was going to say.
It's going to be this Friday. There's going to be 2 separate times, 9 a.m. to noon and 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Head on over alamo.edu/SAC. Click on the events calendar link. So many things, microaggressions, dealing with grief and loss during COVID-19, coping with test anxiety.
Yeah.
All these things. So take advantage of it. There's no classes on Friday.
Right.
Or is there?
I think there may be a few. There's still a few out there. Some of the sciences. Yeah, here and there. But for the most part, yeah, we're done. But I do want to encourage the students, because I think they get a perception of what the Advocacy Center is and what it does. And I think whatever that is just a small percentage of the bigger array of services that they have. So give yourself a chance. You're not going to know unless you attend this open house all the resources they have. And let me tell you, we have some amazing professionals that work there, highly credentialed, all in for students. So I want to encourage the students to go out and do this, because we think we may know what's available. And I think you would be surprised that once you attend, at the level of services and the level of commitment we have for our students.
Oh, yes. Also for our students, these, there we go, this one. These wonderful Zoom backgrounds have been created by the SAC Marketing and Strategic Communications Department. And you can download these, alamo.edu/SAC/Zoom-BG. Either way, just head on over alamo.edu/SAC. You'll find it. 95 years.
Wow. 95 years.
Long time.
That's a long time. And well, when you stop and reflect a little of all the students, all the lives, all the families that have been impacted, that have benefited from coming to SAC, it's pretty amazing. I still would love to know how many degrees and certificates have we produced over the last 95 years for this beautiful community, because just in 5 years, we've calculated just in 5 years, in the ballpark of 25,000 to 26,000 degrees and certificates.
Wow.
That is pretty tremendous. And a lot of those go on to, UTSA, University of Incarnate Word, all the schools, Texas A&M San Antonio, St. Mary's, Our Lady of the Lake, all these amazing schools that are right here in your backyard. You don't have to go anywhere, and you're going to get a quality education starting with SAC.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny when, you hear San Marcos or Austin, it's a college town. I don't think so. San Antonio, this is where it's at. All of our community colleges, all of the 4-year institutions we have here. This is College City, USA right here.
No doubt. For me, when I think of a college city, I think of beer cans laying around everywhere, and all this. It was just dirt. No, I don't want to do it. I'm just saying that we have found a way with so many college and universities to just keep a sense of community, and it's a really unique thing in San Antonio because, when you physically step into a college town, that's a college town. San Antonio has always been able to embrace these wonderful institutions and still keep a community atmosphere where you can raise a family, where you can be successful, you can own your own business. I'm not saying college towns can't do that. I'm just saying that this city has more to offer you than just being a college town, even though we have a diverse array of institutions. But I'm going to get in trouble anyway from some of our Texas State graduates or A&M or UT. But I'm just saying that San Antonio is special. And I think we as institutions of higher learning contribute to that uniqueness and that sense of community.
Definitely. Well, it is that time of the show. We got to go. All right. Catch us here every Tuesday, 8:30 to 9, right here on the San Antonio College YouTube channel. And, Dr. Vela, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for your amazing hospitality, and I look forward to this every week. So, regardless of the platform, we're gonna roll with it. So, I appreciate your creativity there, Hot Mustard.
Oh, thank you.